Time for a playoff edition of the Aiming Five Hole podcast with Phil and Ryan. And as everybody can see, Ryan's got his hands in his head because Montreal just blew a 2-0 lead in game 4 of their series with Tampa Bay. What the hell happened, Ryan?
Stay out of
Let
the
it all out.
box.
Let it all
Stay
out right
of
now.
the
Let it all
box.
out. I can see the steam coming from your ears. You're more red than
Ugh.
usual.
Man, I was flying when they went up 2-0.
We all
Absolutely
were.
flying.
We all were.
And then
They looked
and truth
good.
be told, they didn't look bad the rest of the game. Like it's not like they laid an egg like they did in game 2 against in Tampa,
Well, they started to.
where
They started to
beginning
in
of
the
the third
second
period,
period. Yeah, they started
yeah,
to at the end of the second period, and they pulled it back.
they pulled it back, and I was very impressed with, they didn't get a ton of offense going in the third period. There was not a lot of shots on goal, but they defended well, they played hard, they didn't fold. Just that last goal, I mean, it practically went off Hagel's face.
It
Like
almost did. It
so,
probably off his neck.
yeah, so like sometimes you lose on a fluke goal. It was the other two that were problematic from my perspective. They were, the power play goal was the power play goal was matter of Carrier missing his man. I know you think it was Matheson,
Well,
but
I think it's both. I
yeah,
think both is an issue. I think Matheson doesn't
yeah,
have the Hagel stick tied up, and look at Hagel's hand was really far down on his stick, or was it
yeah.
Hagel or Point? It was Point, wasn't it?
Point was in the bumper
Yeah,
slot. It was
yeah.
Hagel. It
So
was in
yeah,
the
it's Hagel. It's
crease.
Hagel. So had his hand way down his stick. It's tough to get to. But Matheson, I know he was in the. He's worried about the bumper guy, but his stick was up around his hip.
Yeah,
Your
I
stick
guess.
has to be swirling back and forth, getting in the lanes, and he gave the lane to Kucherov. You can't give that guy a lane to get the puck through like that. So I think
Yeah.
it's a combination of everything. And look, I think I agree with you. It's tough giving up that up, and it was nice to see Caulfield get a goal. But I'm going to challenge you
Yeah.
on this. I think that up until tonight, he's been missing in action five
He
on
has been
five.
missing in action until
And
tonight.
I would say
And
Suzuki too. Five on the power play, they look good because they've got the puck. But 5 on 5, they look like they're gripping their stick too much. And Caulfield's been missing. I'd almost call it, and I'm sorry to say this, is Marner-esque.
well, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah,
Don't,
yeah, yeah,
don't,
yeah,
Phil, you're insane.
yeah, yeah. Doesn't want
Caulfield
to
still.
engage.
What are you talking about? He goes into the corner every time. He's losing battles like that.
Yeah,
He
well,
doesn't
that's
always
part of
lose,
it.
but he's engaged. He's not shying away from the contact like Mitch Marner does. Like he's engaged.
Well, by the
He's
way,
definitely gripping.
The APB is out on Marner for the other series, which we'll get to. But
Yeah, we can get to that. We can get to that. There's no APB. They know where he is.
yeah,
He never left the locker room. But no, I think look, they definitely started looking better in the third period in this game offensively. I think that line has been excellent defensively. Suzuki had a fantastic game defensively tonight. A fantastic game. He was tough on pucks. He was tracking back really well as a centerman. And in the third period, I thought after that Crozier hit on Slavkovsky that knocked him out, when he came back, Slavkovsky wanted to prove that he didn't have any cobwebs from that or anything. He was throwing his body around.
yep.
And he started making more confident plays with the puck coming out of the corners. I thought they're still not getting enough shots through.
No,
I was really shocked to see at the end of the game that Tampa had only blocked 15 shots. That felt very low to me. It seemed like they were blocking everything.
there was a lot of missed shots too.
Uh,
Just missing the net. There was a couple times
well,
there where
Matheson,
what was that slap shot from the
yeah,
high point? Was
Matheson,
Matheson? Just you
Matheson
got to
missed the
hit the
net.
net there, even if it hits the goaltender. You got to create chances
Oh, it
from the
would. The
rebound.
thing is, it wouldn't have hit the goaltender because Vasilevsky was well out of
Yeah,
position and his arms were up high and wide,
yeah.
and that would have been a goal had he been able to hit the net. Unfortunately, but look, I'm a little worried. I was saying to you beforehand that the Canadians, the youngest team in the league, you lose a game like that, it gets in your head. It can't help but get in your head. And look, this is a team that's been very resilient all year. They've, most comeback wins in the NHL, tied with Anaheim. So you don't know. Maybe they do
Yeah.
have it in them. I just worry. But the good news is they're going back to Tampa,
Yeah, you said that
and
you like them on the
I,
road.
I
The
like the
road
way they
doesn't
play on
worry
the road.
them, relaxes them. So let's go back to that. So you
Yeah,
got your wish. So they're going on the road. back
They're
to
going.
Tampa Bay. Look at 2-2. We called this series going 7 anyways, so it's not over. There's a lot of hockey we played.
Yeah.
Best of 3 now series, but they got to get more pucks to the net. They got to get more production out of the top line. I would say out of the second line too. Right now, most of the goals outside of the power play have been coming from the third and fourth line. So
Third. Yeah.
they got to get some more production out of the big boys and get going. I think if they do, they can. Look, we can talk all day long about the reffing,
I
Kucherov going down really easy into the boards there at
real
the
easy.
end.
And boy,
Evans
did he
made such
milk
a
that.
great play coming in and picking his pocket, and then Kucherov knew he was coming, gave him a little bit of a jab, and he went down pretty easy and went into the boards. He probably didn't want to go into the boards quite the way he did, but um,
But he did go into the boards hip and shoulder first. If
yeah,
there's a safe way of doing it,
yeah.
and then he
And he
milked
came
it for
back out
all of his worth and
35
came back
seconds
at.
later. Yeah.
Yeah,
So look at, I would agree with you, but you can't give the ref a reason to make that call
I
200 feet from your own net.
I cannot I cannot dispute the fact that it was a 2 minute penalty. If the 5 minute had stood, I would have lost my mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was no way
There
5 minutes was going to stand
there
for
would have
that.
been a beer bottle through my television had that major call
I
stood.
couldn't believe Coops was up on the bench screaming for the 5 there. It was just, come on.
He
You
was
know better than
lobbying.
that. You know
He's
better than that. You
lobbying.
know better than that. But I look at can't blame the ref tonight. It's hard fought. This is a great series.
It's a
Back
great
and
series.
forth,
By the way,
fantastic hockey.
Dovesh had a save percentage in this game of like 850, but you can't fault him on any of the goals.
No,
Like they
he's
were,
going toe to toe with Vasilevsky in this series.
yeah,
This is one of the series when there's been a few of them. We'll go through them as we go through them. Goaltending is not a bad factor in this series. This has been great
yeah,
goaltending. And we talked about it. And we were going back and forth on texting during the early in the second period, and we're sort of saying this felt like an overtime game right from the hop. I was feeling
yeah,
like it's been such a close series. Going to overtime for the first three. 1 goal game tonight. That it was going to come down to 1 goal, and they were playing like it to start with. They
yeah.
were both playing nervously,
Like it
like
was
one goal
overtime
was going
from
to
the,
do it. One goal
yeah,
was going to do it, and it's a fantastic series. And look, I'll take 3 more of these games like that.
yeah,
That's fun hockey to watch. And
yeah,
I hope we talked about it. Montreal in 7, so if it comes down to it, great. Look, if they
yeah.
got up 3-1, it would have been awesome. But
How about that Bell Center though?
oh
Holy
wow,
cow!
wow. Let's start there.
what I
Even
would
the
what I wouldn't give to be in the building.
Well,
Damn.
you know what? Here is my oath to you, and I was going to say this. I didn't want to jinx it in case they won tonight and had an opportunity to go in 5 or 6. This goes 7. You're flying your butt out here, and we're going to game 7.
Well, I'll watch for the ticket.
You got the better connections for the tickets. You got somewhere to stay, and I'll drive you there. And we're going to game 7. If this goes to game 7, we're going to that
Well,
game.
we'll have to find a way to make that
Yeah,
happen.
we're going to make that happen. So, but you know what? Great game. So let's move around. Let's go around the league here. Let's not stick too much
Okay.
time on that. Unless you got
Yep.
anything else you want to get
No.
out of your system.
No.
Nope.
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 Nope. I'm
Okay.
done. If I talk about it anymore, I'm gonna get mad again. And I
Was there
finally
anybody in
found
the
my
room with you
smile.
tonight that might have gotten hurt by anything flying around?
There were some bodies. There were some bodies in danger.
I
So
gotta say, like, I want the Canadians to win for you because I'm rooting for you. Because you've rooted for me in the Leafs in the past. But I gotta say, it's been a little liberating this year not having as much on the line as it has in the past. I can sit there, yeah, I'm upset when Tampa Bay scores because I really don't like Tampa Bay and I don't want them to win.
what we
But
should do is
but it
take our.
doesn't affect me quite the same, and it's actually a little liberating and freeing.
We should. Do you have an Apple Watch? I got an Apple Watch. We can like compare heart rates.
Yeah, I can put my
And
wife's on. I
mine's
don't
gonna be
have one, but I
spiking.
can put one on. Yeah.
Mine's gonna be spiking a lot more than yours.
Oh well. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get to the 2 already sweeps in this season in this playoff
Yes.
season. None last year, 2 already this year.
Para Bruins.
Um, Carolina over Ottawa. Let's not talk a lot about this other than
No, I want to talk a lot
yeah,
about it
yeah.
because there's.
Well, first of all, you're right. Let's talk about how dumbass started this series with
Yep.
fighting Stahl. How about the ultimate insult on them by fighting to start this series, try and rev up your team, and you go out in 4, and you're
Yeah.
-4 with a goose egg in points. How you like that, Tkachuk? You dummy.
So I saw a comment on social media that was almost right, and I let that person know that I almost agreed with them, and they were saying Kachuk Kachuk was bad this series because he was trying to do too much.
Yes.
And I mostly agree with that, but I corrected it a little bit. I think it's not that he tried to do too much; it's that he was too focused on the wrong things. He was chasing a game, trying to lay the big hit, trying to make the perfect like
He
he
had a lot of
his
chances. Like if you
yeah
watch those games, and I've watched a lot of all of the games. I can't watch all of them because there's some of them going up against each other in some
yeah.
respect. But I watched a
Well,
lot, especially
and
of that series.
also
And
you're married,
yeah, my wife
and
hates me.
you'd like to stay that
She's
way.
taking up resident upstairs on the upstairs couch. But he's had a lot of chances. Stutzel had a lot of chances. Stutzel had one assist in this series, -4 as well. Both of them weren't very good. Brady
Hmm.
Tkachuk was giving, to your point, almost squeezing the stick too much. And then to start the series with a fight when he could have done the smart thing was being energizing your team, going out and making hit after hit after hit. He was taking stupid penalties. He was making stupid runs at people. Like it just wasn't effective in that way. You know, when he's on the ice and he's
Yeah.
playing his game and he's making hits, clean hits, and driving the net and doing that stuff, he's effective. When he plays
Hmm.
like he did in this series, he wasn't. And you know what? It's the ultimate insult to him. He starts this thing trying to jack up his team with a stupid fight to start the series, and now he's out in four.
Yep.
Good on you.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Now the question is, does he get traded?
Well, it's amazing how quick that game finished, and then all over social media, people were
Was that his
saying,
last
"Okay,
game?
trade him. He's got to be traded. Maybe they trade him in the offseason." I think look at, I don't like him. Ottawa can't trade their franchise player, unless he wants to go and says, "I want to leave." You can't trade him. He's your franchise player. You know, Stutzel is your franchise player. And by the way, you can't blame the goaltending in that series. They wasted a hell of a performance by Allmark. He was fantastic in that series.
Unbelievable. He's
Unbelievable.
he's he's he's
He was
so
the only
far.
reason it was as close as it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way,
um,
while we do that, we should also throw equal props to Freddie
oh,
Anderson, who's just
like,
played out of his head.
well, where was that when he was a Leaf? I
Well,
was taping, I was
I think
texting
the
with a guy in Carolina who I know who used to work for the Hurricanes, and we were going back and forth. Well, where the hell was this when he was a Leaf?
well,
Like
where
he
was the
stood
hell
on
was
his
this?
head.
Where was he the last 3 4 years with the Carolina Hurricanes
Oh
like
yeah,
this? Like
he was
they
resting.
could
He
have
was
been
resting. He was injured.
they could have had him in a they could have had that team in a couple of finals with
Oh,
the
no
way he's
kidding.
playing.
Wow. But you know, those two teams played so much alike in terms of their grittiness, tough, counter punching, and the fact of the matter is, Carolina just does it better
Yeah.
and out Carolinaed Ottawa.
Yeah. 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 I
So it
agree.
was just a fantastic display of how they play hockey under Brindamore, and it was exactly what he wanted to see from start to finish.
Yep. Yeah, I
And
can't. It was very, very, very hard forechecking hockey
yeah.
all the way. Now, give Ottawa credit. Defensively, they played really, really
Oh
well. Their
yeah,
shot
like
suppression was great. They were keeping Carolina all of Carolina's goals were sort of hard-earned, gritty goals. Stankoven, that little flea is like all over the place and
oh
was probably the MVP other than Freddie
yeah,
Anderson was the MVP of the
right.
series.
With the exception, sorry, of that final game at 4-2, all three of those other games could have gone either way
Yeah.
with the goaltending, right? Like if Freddie doesn't make a few of those saves, if Allmark doesn't make a few of those saves, like that series could have gone four overtime games easy just because of the goaltending. It was
Yeah,
that
for
good.
sure, for
It was
sure.
that close.
But
So
bottom line,
you
bye bye
lost.
Brady,
Bye bye
bye
Brady.
bye Brady.
We got what we wanted. We got a
Okay,
Kachuckless playoff.
Kachuckless playoff. I
There we
love
go.
that word.
Let's
Kachuckless
move.
playoff. That I think if I ever start a band, I'm going to call it Kachuckless playoff.
Chuckless playoff. Yeah. You
All
know,
right,
it's
let's
gotten a
move
lot
on.
of play. Before we go off for a second, you know, it's
Yeah.
gotten a lot of play in the little shorts that we did was the us calling out his fight to start the series. And we were going back and I was calling him dumb and stupid. And it was actually a good cut of that cut. And that one got over, it got quite a few hits. So
We
anyways,
got
it was fun.
quite a few views
Thanks
on
for
that one.
everybody
All
for
right.
watching that. But anyways, um, Colorado, LA, also a sweep. not
Yep.
all that surprising. I called 5, but I thought LA
I
might
called
get
5
one
too
at
because I
home.
refused to
Yeah,
sleep.
I would have thought
Yeah.
that they'd get one for Kopitar at home, but it's not surprising. And again, a sweep series. I wasn't all that impressed with Colorado until the fourth game where they really did Colorado things in terms of
Yeah.
playing. But LA played them hard, played them tough, and actually, I think they've showed or set the table for whoever they play next on an example of how to play them.
Yeah,
Tough,
no, I don't disagree.
defensively, and if they come up against another team that plays well defensively and has good goaltending, and guess whoever they're going to play in Dallas or Minnesota, both Wallstat and um, Wedgwood,
Ottinger.
yeah, Wedgwood are playing really well. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
yes,
Ottinger.
Ottinger, sorry, are playing really well. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
But if they can, they've got to get more pucks to the net, more goals as well. But it's
Well,
not
here's what I was
surprising.
at game 3. I
I
went to
yeah, I
game
know.
3 and that was for the benefit of our listeners, not you. I know you
Yes,
you knew I was at
I knew
game
you
3.
were there.
Um, but I was at game 3 and I thought LA outplayed Colorado for almost most of the game. And if it weren't for 2 very fluky goals, one went off a defenseman's stick and the other one was a terrible goal that Forsberg let in for Karam off the backboards. He knocked it into his own net. Just sort of an unforgivable mistake. But 2 fluky goals and that game was over. It
Yeah,
easily could have been an LA victory, except for the fact that they couldn't score more than 1 goal.
yeah, and both
So
those first two games that could have gone LA's way. Like this could have gone. They could be 2-2 at this point,
yeah,
very easily.
but you also have to give Colorado credit. Wedgwood's been playing great. Their defensemen are keeping things to the outside. I know I like to harp on that a lot, but keeping the high danger chances down
Yep.
is a big part of playoff hockey, and they've done a really good job of suppressing that stuff.
Yep.
So,
Nope.
Colorado on to the next one. Where do we want to go next? So, should we go to Dallas and Minnesota?
Yeah, I
Because
think we'll go Dallas, stay in the West, Dallas, Minnesota. What a
Dallas,
fabulous series. I don't think this one's disappointing at all in terms of back and forth.
but what
Great
did I
play.
what did I say about the series? Jesper Wallstedt, and that guy has been playing out of his head for a 23-year-old.
Incredible. Just
43
nothing
saves in the
phasing
last
him.
game.
Nothing phasing him. And by the way, a late goal in game 4 to tie it up, which was, I was already counting my chickens in terms of being up. Oh, this is gonna be 3-1, and then they score, and then overtime was amazing. But again, great goaltending in that series. Every game could go in either direction. I know the first, except for the first one, which Dallas laid a complete egg in.
Yeah.
But since that time, this has been a fantastic series of back and forth, amazing play on both ends. Ottinger's played out of his head. Wallstadt's played out of his head.
But you would have guessed. Here's one thing I
Hughes
won't.
is doing Hughes things, breaking people's ankles.
But
It's incredible.
that said, if you would have, I would not have guessed prior to the series that Hughes and Kaprizov would not have been Minnesota's top 2 players, because their top 2 players have very clearly been Faber and Boldy. They have both been
Yeah,
incredible in this series.
yeah.
And they
Absolutely.
are, I don't think either of them is over 23 years old. But like that
Bolby's got to be older than 23, doesn't he?
I,
I don't know. We'll
I don't
check
know.
that. We'll get back to
Well,
that. Let's not waste our
yeah,
time on
I'm
age
not
at
going to
this
waste my
moment.
time on that. But
But I don't think Hughes has been bad. Like, did you see him on
he's
that
been great. He's been
overtime
great.
play where he broke
It's
somebody's ankle or was in the tying goal? Make
Phil.
that.
Phil, it's not that he's not playing great. It's like he's been doing Quinn Hughes
Yes.
things.
Yes.
It's that Brock Faber has been that good.
Yeah. No
Like
question.
he
He's
has
been
been an
great.
all-world defenseman.
Yeah. It's actually been frustrating because I haven't been able to watch as much of that series because of other games going on that I've wanted to watch. So I'm going back and forth and going crazy trying to keep up with all of it. It's so much fun. But whoever wins that series playing against Colorado is going to be another
It's going
wild
to be a war.
series. It's going to be a
Yeah,
wonderful series.
Colorado may be 2-rested after a sweep.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
absolutely.
they've got to be on their toes in game 1. All right, so
Absolutely.
should we finish up the West or move back east and then
Well,
come
let's
back
stay with
west?
the West. Let's stay with the
All
West
right.
since we're already there. And hey, look it. Everybody started saying after game one of Mammoth, it's the Knights. Everybody's going, "Oh, the Knights are going to be fine. They're winning." This
Nope.
as soon as the Mammoth started winding themselves up, these young guys, they're just coolies flying around out there.
I
Oh,
said they were too fast for Vegas.
just young enthusiasm. But same thing, and we'll get to Philadelphia in a second. Same like it's the same thing happening. Young guys just have nothing to lose,
Yeah, well,
and
it's a little bit different because, and we'll talk about Philly because I think it's a bit of a different approach. But Utah has turned their counter punching game into a science, and they are like you can't turn the puck over against that team if you're not as fast as they are because they will go by you in a hurry, and that's exactly what's happening. And at this point, especially with the level of goaltending they have, they can't get bailed out from it.
no.
So
Well,
Vegas
Carter
just
Hart, I
doesn't
can't.
have an answer.
I called before this series, as you recall, that we thought we'd
Three
see
goals.
all three goaltenders in the series, and I actually thought we were going to see the second goaltender in the last game because Carter Hart gave up 4 goals on the first 8 shots he faced on Friday night. Like
Yeah, it wasn't
I
good.
can't believe they didn't pull him after that. Now he only faced 12 shots in the whole game, and so Mammoth aren't getting a lot on the net, but they're making the most of their chances
Yeah.
and they're playing gritty, hard hockey. And lo and behold, as we said earlier, Mitch Marner is where is he? Has
Still
anybody
in the,
noticed him?
he's in the training room, I
He's
think.
somewhere because again, soon as somebody gets near him with a little aggression, it's flip the puck out and
Yep.
don't hit me, please.
He's not impressing.
No, no, no. The
Yeah,
whole team,
but
like,
the thing is he plays with guys who embody that and it doesn't rub off on him.
no.
Like how do you play with Mark Stone and not play
Well,
like Mark Stone?
did you see some of the news after the game? People are going, "Oh, Mitch Marner had 2 hits. Had only 2 hits all of last season in the playoffs. 2 hits in one game. People are impressed.
Yeah.
Did he just run into them by accident because he wasn't trying to hit anybody? Because I
It's
watched that game and he
yeah.
didn't try to hit anybody.
No.
So I don't know where he got credited with 2 hits from. But look, I don't want to harp on him, but there's so much talent on that team. The fact that they're down to the Mammoth, and they could lose this series. And I think you're going to see Carter Hart in the next game. I don't think I would put Carter Hart back in, but can you really go to Schmidt or to Aiden Hill either? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
sure you
it's
can, right? But
that series is looking troubling for Vegas.
yeah, yeah,
I
and they're going to be
expected
back.
it.
And that building, we called it. Like, did you watch the beginning of that game with the fan base and the crowd
Oh
going
yeah.
nuts? The only, as loud as Vegas is, like the noise level in Utah was impressive.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that the ownership, because most people in Utah were previously Vegas fans. There was a lot of Vegas fans in Utah because of their proximity, but the ownership group before that game were offering free Mammoth jerseys if you traded in your Knights jersey, and they were throwing jerseys in the garbage cans. It was
Really?
brilliant, brilliant promotion. Oh, it was great.
Oh,
It was
that's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So, kudos to the ownership group in Utah for doing that. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But uh, good on them. I can't wait till tomorrow night's game. I'm really hoping the Mammoth go up 3-1 and don't waste this momentum they've got. They got to get more shots to the net. They've got to generate a little bit more. They can't play rope a dope for the whole series because they could get in trouble. If this team does wake up, um, they could be in trouble. But they're getting good goaltending. They're playing well defensively. I'm rooting Mammoth. Let's go, Mammoth.
I am very much team Mammoth at this
Oh yeah.
point. And it's not just because I picked them to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year. I like the way they play. I like their players. Like
I
the
haven't seen as
coach.
much of
Like
him as,
this.
as you are. I'm enjoying and Logan Cooley. I'm enjoying watching that kid skate around.
Yeah,
He's
he's
getting good
very
too.
talented.
Yeah,
He's very talented.
I wish you would put him on Team Canada too now. Like watching him play with the energy and he seems fearless.
I still think they have some pretty good players
No,
up on
absolutely.
Team
But
Canada.
this we talked about this before the Olympics, like that the future of Team Canada with some of the young talent we got, Logan Cooley, Bedard, obviously,
Schaefer,
Schaefer, like, this team is
Green.
our biggest problem is who's the next goaltender, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the next great goaltender that we're going to put out there? But I don't know. Let's get on with it. So let's stay in the West. Edmonton, Anaheim.
Edmonton. What is Edmonton? They're
I'm
still winning,
perplexed.
right?
I'm perplexed because coming into this series, we talked about it in our playoff preview show or our let's call it our prediction show. Um, Anaheim was coming into the playoffs backwards, completely backwards. There were
Yeah.
2-5-3 coming in, playing terribly. Edmonton completely opposite, 6-2-2, I think, coming into the playoffs. McDavid playing great without Draisaitl. The team seemed to pick it up without Draisaitl in, and I don't know. Maybe they emptied the tank a little too much coming down the stretch. Did McDavid empty his tank a little bit too much? Because they have
Well,
not looked good.
he's clearly fighting something, but and once again, they're not getting very good goaltending. But that's not their only problem.
Oh, that you can't blame. Look, they've given
They've
up a
looked a
lot of
little
goals.
lackadaisical.
Oh,
They've looked lackadaisical defensively on a lot of things. Their breakout has been lazy. I
they
mean,
don't look like
the
they're playing
McDavid
playoff hockey.
giveaway in game
Yeah.
two.
Oh, they look like they're playing game 35 of the season and not game 2 or 3 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, come
Yeah.
on, guys, wake up. You got to tighten it up. They should know better than this. They've been there. They've gone to the final the last 2 years. They got to tighten up defensively. And that, like you just said, that giveaway in game 2, McDavid throws it. Nugent Hopkins thought somebody was behind him. He turned and left the zone. Bouchard didn't get back. McDavid didn't cover anybody. Threw his hands up in the air, just like they look completely frustrated. And you got to hand it to Anaheim. They are skating them into the ground again. Talk about youthful enthusiasm. This team is just playing like they got nothing to lose because no one thought they were going to be in the playoffs, and no one thought they were going to give them a series to Edmonton. And
Yeah.
exactly what's happening. Edmonton is playing like Edmonton of the regular season, with lackadaisical defensive coverage, not great goaltending, and it's really hard to outscore somebody when you're giving up 6 or 7 goals a game.
Yep.
I don't
Can't
know
argue
what
with
else
any
you
of
can
that.
say. Like, I don't know what else you say. Like, McDavid and Bouchard are -6. Now, let's not include tonight because they were up 2-0 when we started this podcast. I don't know
Still
where
2-0. I just
I
checked.
don't know where they are at this point, but yet they're
Still
still
2-0.
2-0. I see that now. So good. Hopefully they can turn this around, get it 2-2, get home. But I guess we were a little wrong on our 5-game pick. This one
Yeah,
could go
clearly.
7. This one could go
Yeah.
7, and it could get
This
ugly.
one, yeah. This one,
So
yeah. But honestly, it's like I don't.
Draisaitl actually
I
looks good.
Draisaitl. Well, yeah, he looks like he's recovered. There's no question. But like, if they have to score 67 goals a game to win, that's not going to get
Yeah.
it done, and they're not going to score that many goals
Well,
because they've got they've
the
got another
giveaways.
team coming at them, and they're giving away
Right.
the
Well,
puck too much.
and leading up before tonight, I know they got a power play goal tonight. Before tonight, they were 0 on the power play. Their
Mhm.
PK has been terrible. So they've given up 8 goals before tonight. The save percentage is .855.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. And you know what? Look, I don't. We didn't think they were going to go on a deep playoff run this year, but we thought they were going to beat Anaheim, and they had an
Yeah.
easier run to the Western Final. But I gotta tell you, if Utah comes out of that series with the Knights and Edmonton finds a way to beat Anaheim, I might pick Utah in the next series.
So could you imagine Utah goes to the Western Conference Finals?
But
I mean, that would
you
be
know what?
awesome.
Which should be awesome. But that's exactly what's wrong with the playoff
Oh,
format.
here we go again.
Oh, but it is. That it is. It shouldn't be that way. So, anyways, let's not talk about that. But let's hope they can turn it around.
Okay, so let's go back to
Back
the
to the
East because
East.
we're back in the East. Let's talk Buffalo and Boston.
That series is getting nasty.
It's also a weird series.
Yeah.
Like-
Today. Did you watch any of the game today?
Yeah, well, Swayman chewing out his own team as he got pulled was not
But
something I expected.
Tonight was the first game where I thought Buffalo played like Buffalo since December, where they used their speed. They were playing a great 5-man unit game in terms of moving the puck, getting it up the ice, using their speed, using the body. Got good goaltending. Lyon has found his game, which is great.
Well, I mean, they got him in the net, right? Like having UPL in the net was never a real smart
Well,
move,
look,
in my
I
opinion.
don't think he played badly in the first two. Like he gave up that bad goal. When was it Geeky
But
that?
I wouldn't have started him from the get go. I
Yeah.
would have started the series with Lyon because
Well,
he
UPL down the stretch was healthy and he was playing well, and Lyon was injured and didn't get a lot of games coming down the stretch. So I get
yeah
why they started UPL, but I agree. Like, well, I think we were always going to see Lyon at some point in this series,
yeah.
and
I feel like
they,
Lyon was more the goaltending architect of how they got hot in the first place. But
yeah,
that might just
possibly,
be me.
possibly.
But besides that, one thing that has become abundantly clear to me in this series is that Alex Tuck is going to get paid in this
Oh,
offseason.
if
He
Buffalo
is
can't let that guy leave,
he's
whatever he wants,
dominating.
give it to him. And if they
He's
don't give it to
dominating.
him, Toronto, open the vault. Open it and give him whatever you want and get him into Toronto.
Yeah, he's a big game player. He's a hard player. I love
Yeah.
his game.
Yeah.
Love his game.
I have
I think
a,
that they were thinking of trading him at the deadline because they weren't sure they would be able to
oh,
sign
yeah,
him.
because and they went, let's take a risk. Let's hope he falls in love with the city in the playoffs. We get in there. Hope and you gotta hope he does because this team and his core, they could be back next year and they could ride this away.
And many years beyond that. By the way, I think they're treating this as they were treating it as an own rental,
Yeah,
right? Like even if they didn't get anywhere, you would have traded away a first round pick to get a guy like Alex Tuck,
right,
but you didn't have to do that. So
right.
even if he's an own rental, and look how well that's worked out for them.
Yeah, but you got to open the vault, give him what he wants. You can't let him
Yeah,
leave. You can't let him leave, especially if you've got the core coming back. And if they make a deep run here and they get to the Eastern final, then or further, they could win the East. It's very
yeah,
open. Um, you can't let this guy leave. You got to
yeah.
keep him. And look at this series. It's over as far as I'm concerned. I think Boston. It's 3-1. Boston looked defeated today. They just looked like a team that we suspected from the beginning that might not make the playoffs. They've gotten this far. Swayman has played great. They got through the regular season. They just, they played
Well,
great in
I
the first
think
two
what
seasons. They
happened.
really used their size and their in those first few games, but Buffalo's turned into Buffalo.
Yeah.
Woke them up.
Well, yeah. Well, Buffalo's good. They're not that good, but they're not 6-1 in every game against Boston.
No,
Good,
no.
but I think what they've kind of figured out, or if they haven't figured it out, but what's starting to come to light is that it's becoming increasingly difficult for Boston to hide their third pair, their
Yeah.
third D pair, and yes. And by the way, that third D pair might be down a man because Zadorov could get some discipline for that really
Breaking a
bad.
stick over Darlene's back. That was
Yeah,
stupid.
like Brady,
That's Brady Tkachuk stupid.
that was very stupid. Um, but he's been exposed in this series. I mean, he's been a liability every time he's out on the ice, and there's no, you're not going to beat a team like Buffalo with 5D. You're certainly not going to beat a team like Buffalo with 4D
Yeah.
by hiding your third pair entirely. So I think that more than anything else is dooming them. I mean,
Well,
I don't see them. I don't see them winning the series without outscoring Buffalo
right.
at this
And I
point.
don't think they can. And that's the
And
thing
I
is
don't think they can.
yeah, they came into this
Um,
series thinking they could rough up Buffalo, intimidate them, play the body game. And Buffalo's not a small team, and they're not intimidated, and they're giving everything they're getting back and going toe to toe. And but today, again, I think Buffalo showed their speed and showed their versatility and stayed away from some of the garbage.
yep.
And it turned into 6 goals, right? If they play their game, don't play Boston's muck it up game, skate. And it's
Yeah.
actually, I go back to Montreal. I think Montreal needs to stretch out to play a little bit and use their speed against Tampa Bay. Not that Tampa Bay's a slow team by any stretch of the imagination, but Montreal's a fast team. They got to use some of, especially Caulfield and Suzuki and Demidov. They got to use their speed to get in behind and stretch out the ice a little bit and not allow Tampa Bay to muck it up on them. And same thing. That's what
Yeah.
today. That was the difference in Buffalo Boston. Buffalo figured it out. getting behind them, got a couple goals, and then kept the gears up. And today we said that with Montreal. Montreal kind of part of that second period, they went into that little shell again, and penalties is part of it. Took too many penalties, and Tampa Bay just didn't give up. Boston
Yeah.
gave up.
Yeah. And the other thing that, that Buffalo does well, and what I would love to see in a series against Montreal, if we were fortunate enough to see that happen, is that they're both, and I was talking about Utah as a counter-punching team. That's a lot of what teams with speed can do. And when Montreal is playing at its best, and Buffalo did this very, very well in the last couple games, is that they play defensively moving forward a lot. You see them picking off a lot of neutral zone passes and going the other way. They're reading the play really well. They're on their toes and moving forward to defend the play.
Yep.
That's when Montreal's at its best. It's where I find that that's what I saw out of Utah. And when Buffalo is really playing well, that's what they're doing. These are
you're
not.
seeing a lot of that at Hudson. He's moving, he's picking off passes, but I think you're right. I think they're falling back a little bit too much, moving backwards a little bit, and letting
now,
Tampa Bay come at them.
Yeah, which isn't to say that their back pressure hasn't been good. It's been very good, but when they're at their best, they're defending moving forward, and I'd love to see more of that in game 5. But but yeah, I think this series, may end in 5. It may go 6, but I think Buffalo is showing that it's the stronger team.
I'm not sure I see Buffalo losing in Buffalo in game 5. If this was going back to Boston, I'd tend to agree with you, and anything can happen. Swayman could have a game of his life.
That's what what I bank on. If I'm Boston, I'm like, Swayman has a rebound game where he plays really, really well.
And the team all afterwards, you heard McAvoy and even Sturm in his press conference going like, that was embarrassing. Everybody to the man was saying breakfast. So they're going to come out. Buffalo's going to have to be ready for that first 5 minutes because Boston's going to come out hitting everything in sight in game 5. Hopefully the crowd can keep Buffalo up and they can weather that first 5 minutes and then get back onto their game. And then hopefully it goes over.
Well, let's talk about those Philadelphia Flyers.
Did we ever get this series wrong? We picked this series by our hearts and probably not by our brains. We didn't want to bet it. As much as I don't like Dubas, I picked Pittsburgh because of Crosby, but it's been up until today's game or like yesterday's game. It's been ugly.
If you had asked me before that series started, specifically, can Trevor Zegras be an effective playoff hockey player? I would have said probably not.
You put him under Rick Tocchet.
And he's been great.
Yeah. They have made Pittsburgh look old and slow. And look, we knew Pittsburgh goaltending and their defense was suspect.
But talk about making you pay for sloppy turnovers and stuff. That team defends really well, and they are all over you if you make a silly play.
But I think that's the distinction. All season long, Philadelphia has gotten by playing stingy, defensive, tough hockey and counterpunching, not scoring a lot of goals. And lo and behold, all of a sudden they're scoring. Like they're getting to it. And they've made Pittsburgh look bad. Dare I say, all season long, maybe they were playing playoff hockey and whoever they were playing weren't, but they couldn't score. All of a sudden, they're mixing that defensive style of hockey and smothering to the point where Crosby looks out of place and looks bad. Tonight, they looked obviously better. Malkin, where has he been? It's just, there's just no room out there. And they're playing, as much as Carolina plays their coaches hockey, they're playing Rick Tocchet hockey.
And who would have guessed that Jamie Drysdale comes out of this looking like a perennial Norris Trophy candidate? Like he's playing out of his head.
Yeah, if I go back to somebody wrote on our page, on our Aiming 5-Hole YouTube page, going when we picked Pittsburgh in 7, somebody wrote back Flyers in 4. I wrote him back after the first 3 games and said, I think you're right. I mean, it's looking that way. Like, oh my God. Like,
It's pretty
but
weird.
this Flyers team is the Eastern version of the Mammoth. Young,
Yeah.
aggressive, and maybe I'd put Anaheim in that box. Like those 3 teams, young, nothing to lose because no one thought they were going to be here. And they're just playing like they've got nothing to lose, bandwagon, throwing everything at everybody, going 100%
Yep.
and be damned with it. Like we're gonna win on the way we play, or we're gonna lose on the way we play. Like they're just it's it's
Yeah.
great to see. It's great, but it's unfortunate, and they've come up against Pittsburgh, which there's a reason Edmonton gave up on Skinner, and he's not looked good either.
No.
Not that
No.
his teams look great in front of him, but you can't lay it at his feet. But Sea Loves look better tonight. You're going to see him
Yep.
probably in game 5.
Well, they got to win, so you would assume
Yeah.
so. But the
So
other thing I would and I said last week after the first game that Carlson didn't look like the Carlson who's been
no.
at the number one D all year long. I'm curious about what's going on there, other than the fact that Philadelphia's right on top of them and hitting them with everything they have. Uh, you hope Vladar is at 100%.
He looked pretty good. He didn't look that bad in that loss.
No, but you just never know,
Right.
right? Like, is he fighting with something? Because
Well, here's why I don't think there's too much wrong. Because if I'm Talkett and you're up 3-1, and there's something that could be wrong, you don't throw
if
him
you're
out
up
there.
if you're up 3-0,
You don't throw
you
him out
rest
there.
him for a game.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
That's why I don't think there's too much wrong because I think Talkett's smarter than that. That if there had been any question mark that he was fighting
hmm
something, you don't put him in game 4 when you're up 3-0. You rest him, and if you lose, you got him for game 5.
right.
Because if he gets hurt in game 4, and then you got your backup in for the next 2 or 3 games, then you know
Yep.
Pittsburgh sees blood in the water, they might come out swinging, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't know. I know we got to get going. We've probably gone on too long here, but do you see any surprises in any of the series from here on out? You got some 3-1 ups. You got 2-1 ups. You got any surprises? You want to give me anything in terms of your Montreal, Tampa Bay? I still say that's going 7.
I think
And I think you're going to bitch your butt out here for game 7. We're going to that game.
Wow. Well, hopefully your Canadians hat will show up before then.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I might have to wear my signed Yvonne Cornway shirt to the game.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Might
Wow.
devalue it a little bit, but
Well, more importantly, would you let me take a photo of you wearing a Canadiens jersey?
No.
Because I don't think I would let you take a photo of me in a Leafs jersey.
No.
That's for sure.
No. But I wouldn't wear a jersey. I wear the hat, but I don't think I'd wear a
You would
jersey.
have had the jersey's one step too
Jersey's
far.
too far. Jersey's too far.
Okay. One thing I want to talk about before we go,
What's
and
that?
it has nothing to do with any of the series. Um, how much? Because we have like literally 8 different not officiating crews, like broadcast crews working these, and the ones that I don't know very well, like the guy who did the Canadians Lightning game today, who was working with AJ Maleshko, who, by the way, I think she's great. She
Oh, she's
really
fantastic.
she's fantastic.
Give me
Never
more
heard of
of
this
her and
guy.
less of Jen Botterill.
Yeah, fair enough. But
Now you're gonna get me in trouble.
yeah, I might, but you're going to do it to yourself. So, but what I wanted to say is, like, I've never heard of this guy. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I didn't think I
Like,
didn't
and
notice.
he's
You know
so,
what? I didn't notice that he was bad, which is good.
which is good. Exactly. He called the action well. He was right on top of it. He knew when to throw it to. Contrast that with John Buccigross, who did how is this happening? How is this guy ever allowed out of the studio?
Look at I I'm done thinking about what ESPN is thinking about because their majority of their crews have something I don't like going on about it, and forget about what's going on in their studio show. I can't even watch it. But John Buccigross, it's actually funny because someone I went to hockey on Tuesday night to play in my league, and I was listening to the game when I'm in the change room, and somebody went like, "What the hell is ESPN keep putting John Buccigross out there?" And I went, "I was just talking to Ryan about that, going, everything is 10 decibels. Like everything, there's no up and down. It's just up, and he ruins the game because then when there's a moment of nothing, he's freaking out about I don't know what.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
when
just
he
like,
ever tries to get
stop.
clever, whenever he tries to get clever in the way he talks, like he tries to, go with a Doc Emmerickism or something like that, he just sounds dumb.
Oh, it's just,
But
and you get him in the booth, and then you get Pang in between the
Pang's
friggin' benches.
Pang
Just
is every Pang is
terrible.
every bit as bad.
Oh,
Every
it's
bit as
just
bad.
terrible. Then you go back to studio and got PK in there dressed like, I don't know, he's wearing
But you
drapes.
know what? I will give you're much harder on PK than I
Oh,
am.
he's
But I will
terrible.
say this. I will say this. The the ESPN studio show has done a better job in this playoff so far.
I'm
In
watching enough of it
between
because I turn it off when it gets there.
during the intermissions, they've done a better job, in my opinion, than TNT, which has
Really?
really surprised me.
I
I
love the
think
TNT group. I love the
I
TNT group.
like the crew. Like generally, I think they've been great, but I think Biz has been Biz, and I think Anson Carter and Hank have been a little flat.
Mm.
And you know, especially like go back to like game one of the Montreal Tampa series when they were talking about the penalty calls
Yeah.
and that high stick major, the double minor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Biz was very clear in why he thought it was one thing, and then I just thought that Anson and Hendrick they weren't pleading their case very well, and I just thought, there I go, it's sounding like a lawyer.
That's okay.
But it doesn't have
You are a lawyer.
for a show that tries to be a little bit like inside the NBA.
Mhm.
It had a very flat energy, other than Bissonnette. And
I'll have to watch that because I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched a lot of the studio shows because there's been so much hockey on in between periods.
Yeah, you just go to another.
I'm
game.
going to another game, and I tried to watch some of the pregame show the other day of the ESPN one. I can't stand looking at PK, let alone hearing him talk, and what he was wearing. Even the crew, the other hosts were giving him gears about what he was wearing. People were writing and they were reading. They were reading
really?
social media posts and saying that he looked stupid.
Love it.
But I generally love what TNT's done with that crew. Biz has been fun. For the most part, I love Anson Carter and Henrique. Didn't love Boucher.
Gretzky.
No, Gretzky. Gretzky's obviously one of the greatest hockey player of all time, but I don't know what he's done to his face. But yeah, I still enjoy what TNT's done much better than what ESPN's doing.
ESPN. Well, you're so anti-PK.
Yeah, I just.
All right. Well, maybe we should wrap it up there.
Yeah. Well, it's been great. So
Yep.
you book your ticket. You come down for game 5, or hey, we can go up to Montreal for game 6 if you'd like. If they win game 5, then I'll meet you in Montreal for game 6. How about that?
I don't know how either of us would be able to. I don't know how either of us would be able to afford that ticket.
Well, we'll find. We have connections. One thing,
we have connections.
We have connections. We'll even as long as we don't have to pay face value, we don't have to pay scalper fees. We'll find a way.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to find when the games would be. The Canadians game 6. If it was game 6, would be Friday.
Yes.
And
Friday then Sunday.
Game
so that's
7.
perfect. You fly out here next Saturday, right before, and then here's what we do. This goes to game 7. You fly out here on Saturday, and we do Aiming 5-Hole podcast live.
That'd be great.
ML Arena. It's actually not ML Arena anymore. It's Highmark Stadium or whatever it's called. We do it right after the game, and amongst the Tampa Bay fans and the Canadian fans going nuts after winning game 7. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Well, I will see you next week here in Florida for the Aiming 5-Hole podcast post 7-game telecast with the Montreal Canadiens Tampa Bay Lightning. How about that, Ryan?
That'd be awesome.
All right. We'll see you next weekend.
Right,
Buy your ticket. Bye-bye.